how good is that music? I love it. I love it every time I hear it. I'm gonna go back to him. His name's Noah Britton. Britton Beats. Brittonbeats. Britton Beats. If you go to his Instagram, check his shit out. Any podcasters up and coming, check him out. Noah Britton. This dude got back to me within 48 hours. Had the song I wanted. I told him, this is what I told him, no bullshit. I was like, hey dude, I want like a mellow intro with kind of a hip hop vibe, but with piano. Because I love pianos. Can't play the piano, but I like hearing it. I also like horns too. I think that's because I'm Mexican though. Anyways, Noah delivered. 48 hours, gave me what I wanted. My next song I want to do for like a segment, but I'll work with him on it. Again, go to Noah Britton Beats, check him out, my man. Today's episode, we are gonna dive into a time a gang member came to my house and told me he could walk into my house and kill me and my family. I was 14. But before we jump into that, I want to address a few just current issues that are going on in society right now. You know, for the COVID update, dude, we're approaching I think 100,000 deaths in the U.S. I think we're like under 2,000 deaths away, and that's a fucked up number any way you look at it. And there's people that look at it as it's overstated or it's understated. But even then, at like what, a 25% variable, that's still 75,000 people. That's still a lot of people, man. And a 25% variable, I mean, we really have to get it fucked up if we're doing that. You know, it's like 1 in every 4 bodies we're just messing up on. That doesn't make any sense. But there are people that believe that shit, so dude, 100,000, that's a lot, man. We're seeing some like encouraging signs with 42 states having like less than 10% cases reported. So that's huge. 42 states, the majority of the union, but those 9 states are hurting right now. And we got millions, dude. We got millions on unemployment. Thousands of businesses are closing. Done. They're gone. They're American businesses. Americans are unemployment. You know, I use my diction carefully, and when I say American, I mean us as a whole, as a society within the United States. And whether we have different religions or heritages or our skin is a different color, we're Americans. We're here for what I would think is our own prosperity. We want what's ours. We want a slice of that pie. But some of us, you know, aren't happy with their slice. They want a bigger slice. They start taking other people's. They start bad-mouthing other people so they can't even get their slice. It's nasty out there, dude. It's nasty. But as Americans, come on, man. But we're here now, you know? We're still Americans today. We're going to wake up tomorrow. So what's the fuss in trying to separate us? And just because our ideals are a little different, that should mean what? It should just mean we're a mixed society. That's all we fucking are. We'll never all have it right. Another thing, dude, cops are fucking up right now, dude. At least, like, in popular media's eyes, which essentially means the popular opinion, too. It's scary out there, dude. And I believe cops may be making more mistakes than they have in the past because of media. But, you know, cops protect cops, dude, and I'd like to believe that bad cops account for less than the majority, you know. I'd hope that it's less than 10% of the overall force are bad police officers, disgruntled police officers. And black folk, you guys have been getting it bad, you know, experiencing some heinous acts of violence. And just not recently, you know, it's been on for some time, dude. And now people are just getting caught now. You know, I think I have a weird thought that the quality in cell phone cameras have really progressed the way people are getting caught now. And also, I've seen the trend of like very quality cameras getting in the hands of anyone and everyone, from homeless people to the richest. Like, we all have somewhat of a decent picture quality phone, and people are getting fucking caught, dude, left and right. You can't play that racist shit anymore. You know, some people might have gotten away with that shit. Some folks might have just like, you know, batted an eye, like just turned the other way or whatnot. But whatever you want to call it, dude, it's coming out. And brace yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like that lady, dude, that lady that said that brother man was threatening her life. God damn. I don't know what the fuck that's about. That's some crazy shit right there, man. Threatening your life. The dude was pissed off though, and like told her she's got to put her dog on a leash, and you can't let your dog just roam around Central Park without a leash and shit. And the dog looked kind of like wild, but she was throwing that dog around, man. I'm not a pet person. I don't really care for dogs, but I don't want to see dogs get fucked up just because some lady's pissed off, dude. You know, what if that dog pees in the house? I bet she whoops on that thing. I'd hate to be a dog in her house. But she got fired, dude. I forgot where she worked. I think it was some financial firm in New York. But that's what happens, dude. You get blasted like that. You can't talk like that. You can't make false claims, you know. I think, what if he didn't have his phone? Would he be given unbiased, pure justice? I don't know. But come on, America, we gotta do better than this. Our police officers, you guys gotta make the necessary changes to improve proper and respectful communication between you and normal society people. The archaic style of the military policing, it gives them such a scary look. Like, you know, my daughter was like 4 years old, 3 years old, 4 years old, and she saw, like, we were walking at I want to say like a farmer's market in Uptown Whittier, and Whittier PD was there, and they had their cars parked, like just being security guys, and they were standing by their cars, and they're standing by their cars talking, and they're not doing anything. They have their arms crossed, sunglasses on, you know, hats on. Some of them were just looking, you know, but, you know, strong expression and a demeanor on them that was aggressive looking. But for me, it's kind of like, fuck, man, I've seen cops before, you know. Some cops are nice, some cops are not. And some of the young cops are, man, they're just so angry. I don't know what they're angry about, but anyways, my daughter sees these cops, and she like got real scared and real close to me, and I noticed that, and I waited and I spoke to her in the car about it. I said, hey, why did you get scared when you saw the cops? And she told me that she was scared because they looked so mean. And I asked her, like, why, you know? She goes, because they're big sunglasses, and they were standing with their arms crossed. And it really made me think, like, wow, I guess that looks, you know, intimidating. That wherewithal that she saw the intimidation brought me back to like my innocent self, thinking like, oh shit, I always wanted to think that the police were trying to do the best things they could, but then there's police that don't, and we have to deal with that in our society. And policing came from some very different standards. In Britain, police officers began wearing hats, like those British hats that came real low, and they covered their eyebrows because they felt that their eyebrows showed so much emotion, and you could see somebody's anger, somebody's sadness, or somebody's happiness through their eyebrows, and they would wear their hats real low, so you would not see any expression. It's almost like you're talking to a robot. I mean, the reasoning behind that is strictly because they wanted to have that intimidating factor. But it makes me think, was there a point where they were doing it not the intimidating way, and then they weren't getting the respect they deserved? Or did somebody just take the wheel and say, fuck it, man, we need some respect out here, and they created their own community? I don't know, man. But some police stations require police officers to wear sunglasses to mask their expressions. Some U.S. police officers they took off and ran with this, and our police need to make better efforts to improve the quality of our officers. The bad thing is there's a good thing and a bad thing to unions. And one of the bad things is that they protect their own, and to get dismissed, you gotta be busted with some shit, and you also have cops that'll turn you in, which is very rare. So the police union is very strong. So as much as they do take care of the good population of police, they do also take care of the bad population of police. So their strength is in numbers, and they got a lot of good ones. So I want to believe they're doing everything they can to improve their officers. I'd love to have, a cop on here and just pick his brain on shit. I don't know if you could do that, though. I don't know what the laws are, copyright and what you can say. I don't know. I should talk to an attorney or something. I don't know. But, these officers, too, also have to take responsibility for their actions. And if you're going to protect your own, then you got to own your own. And you got to call out your bullshit when you guys fuck up. And, alright, I just don't want to rant all day on that. So, let's get into it. Here is my life experience story, getting threatened at 14 years old. So I'm 32 years old now, and at the age of 14, I had a neighbor come over and tell me he could walk into my house and kill my family and I. Yeah. So let me take you to that day, dude. Freaking trip. And this is all a true story too. I'm not like fabricating anything. It's just I'll try to give you my mindset and the emotions I felt that night. But yeah, I hope you enjoy it. So it was a hot ass summer day, summer evening in 2002. And I was having a great day because my mom had told me that my brother was coming home from a 2-year stretch in Men's Central County. He stayed there the full 2 years in the fucking jungles, man. Doing that shit right there in LA. And my mom said I could go with her to pick him up at 8 o'clock Sunday night. And I was so excited, and I ran out of the house, and I wanted to go to my best friend's house, Steve's, who lived down the street. I wanted to tell him that my brother was getting out, and I think I left like something there I needed to pick up. And So as soon as like I stepped down the 2 steps in front of my parents' house, I hear one of those stupid ass mini street bikes that like little Mexican dudes would always be riding around all the time. Like the little ones, they were like crotch rockets, but they were just tiny, like little replica street bikes. And big fat Mexican dudes would just get on those things. Like, I don't know, man. They would just travel on them. Um, but anyway, around the corner from my parents' house, there was a dude that moved in. He moved in years back. I didn't really know anything about him. The only thing I knew was he was from Compton, and he was some gangster ass dude, like an older cat too. But when you come from Compton and you're able to claim that, like, you're given that respect by an ignorant kid like myself. Um, so this dude was a gangbanger. And he had like 4 of those stupid ass bikes that they would ride around, and it was his big fat ass coming around the corner, and as I'm approaching the skirt of the driveway, as like I'm gonna cross the street, he came up quickly in front of me and stopped me like as I walked, and he said, "Hey," turns off his stupid little bike, and he says, "Hey, are you Philip's little brother?" And that's my older brother's name. I only got one older brother, and that's his name, Philip. And this dude was probably like in his mid-30s, and he's like tatted down and looked like just a scary ass homie, dude. He knew I was scared. I knew I was scared, and I shakenly answered that, yeah, I was his brother. And he said, "I know he gets out today." And I said, "How do you know that? We just found out." And he said, "Don't worry, little homie. I got my ways." I said, "Okay." I tried to like scoot past him, like, "What the hell are you? Who the hell are you?" And he says, "I've been in your house before. I've seen where your mom sleeps. I've seen where your dad sleeps. I saw your bed. I see where you sleep. And I know where everything's at in that house. Your stupid ass brother let me in one day, and I remember it all. If your brother fucks with one of my homies in the can again, I'm gonna run up in your house and I'm gonna kill all you motherfuckers. I know where you guys all sleep." I was fucking horrified. I was petrified, dude. And he said, "Your brother fucked up. You're gonna have to pay for it." I, 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 I started crying, dude, and I just told him, like, "Dude, leave me alone, and I just took off running. And he stayed and he stared at my parents' house for like a few minutes. I'm not gonna lie, the few minutes were just, they killed me, man. And then he rode off, and my best friend, I ran to his house. My best friend saw me crying and asked what's wrong, and I told him what happened, dude. And we hid behind the garage to watch the guy, like when he was waiting in front of my parents. And we were behind Steve's garage and we were watching him leave, and then he finally left, dude. And I ran back to my parents' house as fast as I could, and I did something that I really did all my life. I covered my face so my tears and red eyes just would not show. I ran to the bathroom, And that small sign is more than just like a kid, being a fucking scared kid. I started doing that shit when I was older. Not necessarily crying and bawling up and running to the bathroom, but the pain was still inside, and there were days I wanted to cry, and I just couldn't. I wouldn't. And things I didn't want to deal with. So I'd run. I'd run to the bottle. I'd run to some negative people around me. Because, misery loves company, man. And you find another person that's miserable with you, shit, man, you guys can go down the wormhole together. For reals. And once you get down there too much and you look up and you can't see any more light, that's it. You went too far. And I'm glad I never went too far. Um, but in that moment, I was just so scared that of my parents seeing my face and asking me what's wrong, and then getting mad at my brother or getting mad at me, and so I just didn't let them see me cry, and I went to the bathroom, washed up real quick, and my mom and we jumped in the car to pick up my brother in Men's Central in LA. My dad stayed back, and now that I reflect on this, I think he stayed back because he couldn't bear to see his son walking from the prison doors. It wasn't a sight he wasn't familiar with family and his own experiences with the law. I think it was just a vulnerable moment that he did not want to face. And as a 14-year-old kid, I took it as like you're turning your back on your son. I mean, I'm 14 years old. I didn't know dick. And for years, I definitely had some animosity towards my parents because I felt that they turned their back on my brother when they needed them the most. Him needed them the most, and it wasn't until I got older and had my own kids that I came to realize like the pain that goes behind it, and the real easiness it is for males to be able to run. It's not so much easier. It's not easy for a woman to run, especially when children are involved. But I think it's easier for men to take that fleeting style. I definitely struggle with that. Not so much on a daily basis, but at some points in my life, I was dealing with that on a daily basis. Like I did in episode 20, I spoke about my suicide attempt in 2016, and I spoke on the mindset I had then, so I have had those thoughts of, well, if I leave, it'll be better. I don't know where I'm going or what it is, but it's got to be better than this, right? That's that mentality I would have. And so back to me and my mom in the car. I couldn't hold back my goddamn emotions, and I mean, a guy just told me he's gonna murder my family if my brother doesn't fuck up. And so I spilled the beans and told my mom everything that happened with a broken and upset voice, like, I don't want him to get hurt. Crying like a freaking baby. I just didn't want my brother to get, hurt, or I didn't want my mom to get mad at my brother. And I don't really recall my mom's reaction, but I know she tried to like sugarcoat it, but it was already said, Mom, and she did the best she could. What mother would know what to do in that situation? And my mom said that she wanted to bring it up to Phil on the way home and for me not to say anything. And we talked about it the whole ride up, and I told my mom towards the end that I wanted to be the one to tell him, because we had a bond. Me and my brother will always have a bond. And he listens to me much like I'll listen to him. Excuse me. And maybe we should have waited until he got home and settled and a good night's rest. But no, we decided to say it in the car. So my bro comes out of Men's Central release area and smiles all big with his big ass mouth and his big ass teeth. I got little teeth. The motherfucker's got big teeth, big nice smile, big lips. It's disgusting. But anyway, so he's walking out of Men's Central, and he hugs my mom and me at the same time, with this big strong grip, and I could feel that my brother put on some new power, dude. he put on some new power in the can, dude, and some new ink too. I noticed he had a few more tattoos, and he was just so happy to be out of that shithole, dude. He said he saw some of the worst things happen in there, and he said it was like a jungle in there. And of course, he never went into detail when my mom was present, and but when it was just me and him, oh boy, he'd tell me some crazy stories, you know. And as he shared his excitement, I couldn't help but break out crying about that Compton dude that had threatened me. And I remember exactly how it went. My mom was driving, right? My mom's driving. My brother's sitting shoddy. I'm sitting behind my brother in the back seat. Excuse me. I started explaining what happened with the Compton dude around the corner and how he approached me. Told me that he's been in our house before, and that if you mess up again, he's gonna go in there and hurt us. And I didn't want to cuss in front of my mom, and I began explaining it, and my brother just stopped me, and he said his name is blah blah blah, and I was like, yeah, dude, that's him. And my brother looked at my mom, and he looked at me, and he just said, don't worry about it, don't worry about it. And he just asked me to tell him what happened. And the mood in the car was just flat, stale. The excitement of my brother being home was there, but he wasn't there yet. He was pissed. And my brother's got a crazy temper. So we pull up to my parents' house. I think we got like some In-N-Out or something for him. We pull up to my parents, and we pull into the driveway, and my brother gets out of the car. Boom, he starts walking opposite way of the house, and starts going towards that Compton dude's house around the corner. And my mom screamed and pleaded from a distance to not go over there, Phil, to please come back, and he had just gotten out. And my brother had his mind made up as soon as he heard me say those words. And my brother, he didn't even go inside to see my dad, and he went straight to that guy's house. And I don't know, but they must have worked it out as men, because I never really saw that guy on my block ever again. He actually, he still rode his stupid ass bikes around, but he'd never come down our street. And if he was driving from home, he'd never drive through our street. I never saw that dude again. And then years, as life went on, I don't know what the fuck happened to him, but yeah, I never had to deal with that dude again. And that wasn't the only time my relationship to my brother almost got me into some violence, some backyard brawling. But my brother didn't come back that night, and he stayed out all night. And he came back a few days later after settling things with that dude, and I never felt I could ask my brother what happened, but maybe one day. I don't know. Do I really want to know? I know my brother was pissed and wanted some revenge, but I feared that this guy would get the best of him. And but by 24, at my brother's age, he had 2 years in the can on his belt, and he was a bulldog in county, dude, and he fought constantly. He's built like Tyson, like a little short, just bulldog, dude. And he has a litany of issues in his head to deal with, and he chose to deal with them through drugs and violence. And I mean, me, I got a lot of the same issues that he has, and but I'm trying to break that cycle now, and I'm not saying that I'm on any higher moral ground. I love my brother, man. There's nothing that he can do in my eyes that are wrong. He has trouble with his drugs, and but he stays away from the gangs now, and he's trying to get out of the can now. And I love my brother, and I'll always help him. He's a very smart dude, and he has a lot of potential. And I hope one day he realizes that. Um, but once you go in that cycle, it's very hard to break. But it's not impossible, and you really have to just buckle down on your mindset and really think about what you're focused on. If you're focused on getting fucked up and having a good time and not really giving a shit about life, okay, you might feel happy. Sometimes it's not gonna last forever. Um, there's only very few people in the world that can do that, and not develop, lasting emotions and feelings for anyone in their lives. But for the majority of society, I don't think we operate like that. Um, so yeah, it was just a horrible time, and that was not the worst time that happened on my block. There's this one time that this dude pointed a gun straight at my head, and another dude ran my pockets, man. And but that's for another episode. Thank you for listening, and dude, I am getting eaten up by mosquitoes out here. God damn it. Thank you for listening, and make sure you share this with at least one person in your world. Everybody's got their little world, their little nucleuses, their everything, in there. Get me in there, man. Share this with someone. That would be, mean the world to me and my family. But if you feel comfortable, let me know what you get out of listening. And if you want to, send this out to anybody and you want me to shout them out, I'll definitely be shouting them out. But thank you for listening. I really hope you enjoyed. I really put a lot of effort into it. Let me go over my posters real quick. First one, the Rat Pack. Got them all up there, dude. Found some dude on Amazon selling them. So sick. One of the best articles I ever read about the Rat Pack were that they had individual contracts with different criminal organizations, all based around the five families, and like the Costa Nostra. I don't know what it's called. But the five families, the big mafiosos, they had contracts with them to perform at special events anywhere they wanted. Imagine that, having Frank Sinatra be able to just perform anywhere he wanted. Because he had to. That's a freaking trip. Next poster, Banksy. Gotta love Banksy, dude. He is the best. If you don't know who Banksy is, he's a street artist. Type in Banksy. Type in Exit Through the Gift Shop if you want to watch like a great, odd documentary that's on Banksy, but not really on Banksy. It's on this dude that actually became a graffiti artist as well as Mr. Brainwash, and yeah, check it out, dude. You'll be so fascinated. What other posters should I have? Oh, Eazy-E, man. Mad respect, dude. Eazy-E. Coming up with NWA. NWA. Without NWA, we wouldn't have any legitimate hip-hop. We'd have Lil Mosey. Lil Mosey moseying around with Lil Baby in his slang. The best. I truly idolize this man. More than just what he did on the court. As a human being and as a father, I have the greatest admiration for what Kobe left as a legacy for his daughters and his wife. You want to talk about a man that went through shit, made some bad mistakes, bad decisions in his life, still persevered, put his focus into something that he loved, his craft, and then came out, and then retired, and began building a future that, man, was looking like it was going to be endless. And Kobe Bryant really means something to me. And he always will. Always will. Before his death, after his death, he'll always remain a big part of who I am and as someone I try to mentor around. And you can say what you will about his persona or the image he portrayed. But his caring heart, I don't think you can discount that. And the level it was on, it's quite ridiculous. So I admire that. And I'll be rotating different posters out. I ordered a few more. God, I went crazy last night. But I'll probably be rotating posters. I'd love to have a whole room of posters. But yeah, so check it out. I'm going to try to get another episode in on Thursday. But I really hope you enjoyed this. Peace.